All right, let's talk about Nate Silver. Some big news that just fits with so much of what we've been talking about here. The 2010s media era is officially over. Go ahead and put this up there on the screen. Nate Silver of 538 is out at ABC News as Disney layoffs once again hit the news division. So Nate actually revealed in a tweet that he would be leaving 538 and that 538 employees had been heavily impacted by layoff announcement at ABC News. For those who don't remember, 538 was an independent political website that was started by Nate Silver after he left the New York Times with the 538 blog. It was very successful, had a good track record up until 2016, started his own website, which was then bought by ABC News as part of the Disney portfolio. It was seen as one of the darling companies of the 2010s, like the blogger era of a guy like him who could literally go from playing shit posting on Twitter and playing online poker to becoming, you know, the guy who called the 2012 election. And now to see him out of his own company, which is crazy, and also, by the way, why you should never sell, or at the very least, if you are going to sell, like, you should have protections. Here's what he has to say. Put this up there on the screen. Disney layoffs have substantially impacted 538. I'm sad and disappointed to a degree that's kind of hard to express right now. We've been at Disney almost 10 years. My contract is up soon. I expect I will be leaving at the end of it. I've been worried about an outcome like this and have had some great initial conversations with opportunity elsewhere. Don't hesitate to get in touch. I'm proud of the work 538 staff. It's never been easy. I'm sorry to the people who have been impacted by this. I put this together with a couple of things. The end of BuzzFeed News, the decline, and let's go back in time. It's 2012. Silver is a rock star. His book was called The Signal and the Noise. That book was like #1 on Amazon after his model called the 2012 election. This guy is like getting, you know, book contracts and money's being thrown at him from the New York Times. Everybody loves this guy. BuzzFeed News, they're the hottest thing on the block. Mike.com, they're killing it for millennials. They're crushing it on Facebook. You've got Gawker, right? Gawker still exists. All these companies. Gawker's on the upswing, like they're swinging and punching. And now it's 2023. It's a decade later. They're all dead. They're gone.
It's crazy.
Like hollowed. Business Insider's still around, I guess, if you want to have a paywall for clickable articles. And then Vice is, I don't know what the hell is going on over there. To be fair, I think Vice was the best of all of them. I loved Vice. I'll always stand by some of their early content. But I think they very much lost their way. And Shane Smith made some questionable business decisions, which certainly benefited him personally, but which didn't necessarily work out for the company. They're still trucking along, I guess, but it's not even close to the level that they were. Or look at Vox Media. Vox Media was one of the biggest startups of the 2010s, built on the click model era. And now their two founders, one is on Substack, Matt Iglesias, and Ezra Klein works over at the New York Times, and his wife works for The Atlantic. It's like you either became an institutionalist or you went independent. There really was no in-between for this click-based media. So I'm looking at it almost as a meta story, just to say, wow, man, the blogger era is dead. All of the big bloggers who everybody thought was going to be the new it thing, they made the wrong bet. They thought that they could sustain themselves on the click model or in partnership with traditional media, and they got burned. The ones who went independent, they're still trucking along and they're doing okay.
Yeah. With regard to this particular business decision, and you and I were talking about this, I honestly, from Disney's perspective, I don't quite understand it because
I think it's weird.
I'd have to know, I guess, more than numbers, but I feel like Nate Silver is a bigger brand than 538. Like, if anything, and I have to think the burn for the whole 538 operation would be more than this one guy, even though I'm sure he's very well paid. So I find it a little strange from a business decision perspective. But putting that aside, what all of these companies have in common is that they're built on a business model that just doesn't really work anymore. And they were unable to adjust. That's really the bottom line. And some of them, there were ideological issues as well. I do think the whole polling analysis industry was certainly hurt by the unexpected results in 2016 and by the fact that in every election since then, the polls have been off in some significant way. So people just don't look to the polls as the gospel that they used to.
Nor should they. Let's be honest.
No, they absolutely shouldn't. And so I think that, so the core of the Nate Silver philosophy is that this is the thing that you should rely on, that there are models that you can use that can work out pretty well what's going to happen and predict these elections. And that theory has taken a big hit from 2016 and really in every election since then. So I think that's part of the backstory here too.
Yeah, just thinking about it in terms of like the meta story here, I feel bad for him. I mean, I do think he was a genuine talent. He had some pretty heterodox views, at some point. He was a media critic too, in his own right sometimes. Didn't necessarily always agree with him, but he got a lot of people into politics, I'll say that. A lot of people got into politics because they enjoyed tracking 538 polling. I've seen that too. It's kind of like an easy gateway drug for a lot of people. And I'm sad. I'm sure he'll be fine. But 538 was a cool thing. It didn't work out. I think they made many, many, many wrong mistakes, or big mistakes, in terms of their business model, hiring too many people, selling themselves to Disney, being one. But it was a cool project, and to watch it die, like, I'm not as gleeful as watching BuzzFeed News die, I guess.
Yeah, 538 is apparently still going to be around,
Okay,
but
sure.
without Nate Silver, it's a really 538.
Yeah,
And
like,
it is funny because I think if he had maintained his independence, they could have shifted to a business model that would work in the current era where advertising rates just aren't what they used to be and social media distribution isn't what it used to be. Because even though the polls aren't what they used to be, it's still, listen, you only have so much information to go on, so you have to look at what the polls are saying, and then you factor in a margin of error, and hey, who knows, and it's been wrong in both directions in recent elections, so, keep that in mind, take it with a big grain of salt, and here are the states that have been the most off, and that's a way that we've tried to analyze the polls. But it's still beneficial to take a look at his model, to understand what his projections are, and I think there are a lot of people that would have paid to be able to benefit from that service. So I do think there's another universe in which he never sells, in which he maintains it as his own outlet.
Absolutely.
But also, some people don't want to be business people.
That's true. Yeah, look, it is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, and
you
some
can
people
ask
just,
us.
they want to do the thing they like to do, crunching the numbers or whatever his deal is. And they don't really want to be bothered with the HR decisions and the tax system and all of those sorts of things. And it's, so yeah, I do feel like it is a loss. And I do kind of feel for him because when you've built, this is his baby.
Yeah, I know.
When you've built that up and then like you're no longer associated, but it's still going to continue on, we know a little bit of what that feels like.
I 100% know what it feels like. That's really tough. And I look at the cost of dealing with annoying tax problems as the cost. That's the cost of being independent and being your own boss.
Yes.
That's basically how it works out.
Hey guys, ready or not, 2024 is fully upon us now, and Saagar and I have been brainstorming ways that we can really up our game for this critical election.
Yeah, we rely on our premium subs to expand our coverage, to add staff, to upgrade the studio. We just want to give you the best independent coverage of this election, which is possible. So if you can help us out, become a premium subscriber today, breakingpoints.com, or the link is down here in the description video. It really means the world to us, and if you like what we're all about, this is the best possible way to keep us 100% independent, working only for you.